Hi guys, we're here with a new video, and this video is finally the best fun specs to play in Mists of Pandaria Classic. It will release today, so today is the 4th of June, so you have plenty of time to actually level a character till pre-patch, and then even then at pre-patch you still have a lot of time to level those characters. I have finally a camera, so my camera died and I have bought a new one. Yeah, I think it's a bit better than the previous one. At least the sharpness looks good, and I don't need to have no lights in the room to have like somewhat of a good light. So that's a good thing, I guess. Let's start with what makes a spec fun. Spec fun is it capable to have a good design while also being somewhat strong. It is not like the ultimatum to be a S tier spec class wise, like strong wise, but do you have a good time whenever you're playing? And this is a very subjective tier list. Again, I'll give you my insights because I did play every single spec on the beta for PvP. This will be a 90% PvP tier list. Most of the things I'm going to talk about will be about PvP. I will not cover tanks. They are possible to play in Mists of Pandaria Classic, even in PvP, but it is nowhere near meta, and I find them not as fun as the DPS specs and the healer specs, so I just tend to not touch them. So I'll be talking about every single class. I'll go for class per class kind of thing, and hopefully we manage to have a good time. Can I do that? Nope, I cannot. I'll do this. That's fine. All right. So we will start with saying that I'll be trying my best to have a good tier list. Uh, I will make enemies. I think that's bound to happen. But don't take it too seriously. It's about most fun, not most meta. If you want to see a most meta class tier list, you will have to wait because I'm still figuring out the meta. Like I think I've seen multiple tier lists about like PvP, and I have not seen one tier list being the same as the other. So everyone is like figuring the meta. I think it's very subjective on what class or spec you're playing mostly. So let's talk about S tier fun design specs. I'll start with Warlock because I think I am most knowledgeable on Warlock. I have been playing Warlock on multiple expansions, and I have been playing Warlock the most on beta as well because I plan to like main one. That's for sure. I think that's like really on my hit list, and I think Destruction Warlock is super fun in Mists of Pandaria Classic. It has the best like design. A lot of people are thinking about Destruction Warlock as a tank because you can actually self-sustain very well. You can play double DPS very well as well in twos, which is like again for me a criteria of a really fun spec is being able to be doing well in twos while also in double DPS. It's not always the case, but like it's a plus. And Destruction Warlock, Chaos Bolt finally does damage. I'll be trying to do a comparison video very soon because I did a comparison video with Elemental Shaman. I'll try to do the same for Destruction Warlock. Chaos Bolt does more damage than Incinerate, while in Cataclysm it is the contrary. Chaos Bolt is actually really only used if you have like somewhat of an absorption versus you and you want to go through the damage. It's not even that good. It doesn't crit like guaranteed. While on Mists of Pandaria Classic, that's a different beast. It is really, really good. I enjoy the fact that you can be a tank. You have portals now. You are very much of a poison. Your CC is insane. Your defensive capacities are insane as well. You could play the Blood Horror talent, or you can play the 1 minute trinket talent, which is super strong. And yeah, I think overall I really enjoyed Destruction Warlock. What it made from Cataclysm to Mists of Pandaria is a straight positive. If I'm talking about like another spec, I would say Demonology Warlock. Let's talk about Demonology Warlock first. I find it interesting. I find it fun. It is not really strong in PvP. I don't find it that incredible. I'm going to put B tier because I think it is not really that playable. Um, I think it's cool to have like a metamorphosis that you can turn into because you have like a resource bar and then you use that resource bar with the abilities you're going to use, because if you're transforming into a metamorphosis, your spells change, and they are very interesting, but I find it like it feels like it doesn't do too much damage. Now it could be me that I'm not really playing well. I prefer this version to the Cataclysm one, but the Cataclysm one, it feels like I did more damage. It's kind of weird. It's a really weird situation. I am way more tanky on Miss Pandaria, that's for sure. Like, it feels really tanky. It feels like you're playing a tank. And I do like the fact that you still transform into a Dread Demon, because again, once Legion is out, you are not able to transform into a demon anymore, and it really, really sucks design wise. But like Miss Pandaria, thumbs up. Is it that much better? I personally don't know, because I think I do compare it a lot between Destruction Warlock and Demonology Warlock, and also Affliction. And I think I feel like the Demonology Warlock is like the lesser of the three. Affliction Warlock, on the other hand, S tier. I think it's also like the expansion for Warlock in general. If you want to have fun, it still is a design of does do damage. While in retail, dots are like still doing damage, but it's not really what makes you kill anybody. Like, it's about shadow bolts and those procs, nightfall procs and haunts and whatever. In Mists of Pandaria, your dots still hurt a lot. You have Malefic Grasp. I think it's really, really good. It is still pre-Malefic Rupture kind of gameplay, and I prefer this gameplay definitely compared to retail. I would also say it's a big upgrade from Cataclysm to Mists of Pandaria. And the gameplay itself is very fun. You are also able to do 2s, double DPS. You can play 3s. You do very well in BGs. In RBGs, you're going to do also very well. I think also lore-wise and how it plays and how it does is really fun. And again, I am very biased. I am a Warlock player. I would encourage people to play Warlock, but also I would like to not have like a million Warlocks next to me. So I guess it's fine if people are not rolling on them. But if someone asks me like, is it worth to play Warlock? I will for sure say that it is worth, and it is actually the expansion if you want to play Warlock. Now let's talk about Shaman, the second class I've played the most on the beta. Enhancement Shaman is a clear A tier. It is, in my opinion, it is still my opinion, it is stronger than Cataclysm Enhancement Shaman. It feels a bit more oriented towards those elemental blast goes, and you have damage at all times. Your Wind Fury becomes like a bit of a lesser thought. Like, the more the expansions goes, the less Wind Fury becomes like that prominent. Ascendance does give you like a big oomph that is sometimes needed to close games. I think the talents itself are also there to help you like specialize into something, like for example being more of a movement impairment, like anti-movement impairment spec. Could be like doing more damage as a whole yourself, or you're going to have more utility, more heal, like self heals and whatnot. You can, it depends on how you play. I do feel like Enhancement Shaman is in a very fun state. Is it going to be like a true main? I don't know, because I have played a lot of Enhancement Shaman in the past, and retail kind of made me sick of it. But if I have to say that Shaman is like a great class in Miss Pandaria, it might be a understatement. I think Restoration Shaman is a S tier performance class. Now, is it fun? I think Restoration Shaman is actually one of the funnier classes to like specs to play in PvP. Where is Resto Shaman? I think Resto Shaman is an S tier healer. If you're like hesitating about like an aggressive healer that plays very, very on top of people, I think Restoration Shaman is really, really good. Being able to totem project like those capacitated totem, which is like a stun, is very strong, and you have like some more of a skill cap to that. Being able to hex, being able to also fling your damage onto the enemy whenever you can. I think as a whole, it's really a good spec. But Elemental Shaman, I think, is no secret. It is very, very fun. You'll see a lot of S tiers. I'm very sorry, but I think the truth is, Miss Panera Classic has an insane design, like an insane amount of design that is actually available towards the players, and I think it's a great thing to have that. I'm going to put the tank tier because, again, I'm not going to rate tanks. I do not want to rate tanks because I will not be objective, and I don't want to have like I'm already very subjective, but I don't want to like spew bullshit onto you guys, obviously. So those are the tanks. Elemental Shaman, still do a lot of damage on lightning bolts. You are like really a lava burst machine at this point because lava surge becomes like a instant cast, and that is going to be fantastic. Like whenever you're going to a lava surge, your lava burst becomes instant, and you can really be a machine gun. Your mastery is really good. You're also able to play those duplicate spells, talents, which is also a possibility for you to like perform very well. You can play like a haste talent if you want to, or you can play like an instant spell talent. It depends on how you see it. Like instant hex is really strong. So it depends. It really depends on how you want to play your shaman. But I think overall you're winning on like defensive as well. You have Astra Shift, you have Shamanistic Rage, you have your Thunderstorm, you have your Capacitator Totem, you have your Healing Tide Totem as well as Elemental Shaman. So you have plenty of stuff that you can actually use to survive. And then I think you have some variety on how you play it. You can play more of a haste build, you can play over more of a mastery build. Some people play even crit for some reason. Because again, your lightning bolts and earth shocks, whenever you are like with fulmination, you have like those crits, you can actually do a lot of damage with that. And your elemental blast as well, if it crits, it is really a good feel of the spell. Now let's talk about Hunter. I'm really again, I'm very sorry, but I think Survival Hunter is really insane. Fun. It's really fun. Black Arrow, your Serpent Sting. You have to enjoy the crispiness of Survival Hunter. If you have played retail, retail just doesn't have that kind of Survival Hunter anymore. It is really just melee, which is fine. I would have preferred to have a fourth spec instead of like a third spec that is really replacing my favorite playstyle of Hunter. Your explosive shot, your black arrows, your arcane shots, your it's a magical damage dealing hunter, pretty much survival. You have your black arrow, you have your serpent sting, you have your arcane shots, which like again does also some good damage and increases your damage as well with PvP power. You have your explosive shots as well. You have kill shot that does insane amount of damage. You have a multitude of traps and again entrapment as well, so people are like stuck into it. You are very slippery as well. Your talents are like incredible. I think it's really fun to play Hunter just as a whole, as just one class. But I think Survival Hunter is like the epitome of design. Like it cannot get better, and it becomes worse and worse until like the rework Survival Hunter into what we know from Legion, which it's fine. I like Melee Hunter, but I miss this iteration of Survival Hunter. So for me, Survival Hunter is really high, especially design wise and like PvP wise. You can play in multitude of comps and it does very well as well. BM Hunter, I would say B tier, but that's like really subjective. I just don't like the zoo gameplay like around your pet and what like it's really frustrating because sometimes it is really strong and sometimes it's really weak. I think it lacks and that's the same for retail pretty much. Like it lacks a really clear identity, like damage wise. It feels like your pet does everything. You don't really have too many abilities as well. So it feels like a bit empty whenever you're playing it. It is strong. It is not like fantastic compared to and Survival, especially since its last patch. If it was like the first of Miss Pandaria patch, Stampede was like really screwing everyone, especially if you're BM. But like for me, BM, it's like a good spec to have since you are like a hunter. You can play all three specs very good, very well. So you can like swap between them. But I really enjoy the fact that you have like MM and survival at your disposal. If there was no survival and MM at your disposal, I would just like go away from hunter because BM hunter is not that interesting. but I think it's fine like that. So let's talk about MM. I think MM is going to be like a sweet in between. I think gameplay wise, it still lacks like the few things that you get on like later expansions. I do like camera shot, I do like aim shot, I do like the fact that if you're trapping someone and you take the right talent and your right glyphs, you can actually like destroy someone with like heavy crits. It has high range, it is feeling good. You can actually cast aim shot while moving, which is like something that in retail they would like to see, but it's not going to happen anymore. But with a glyph, you can actually use aim shot while moving, which is a really good thing. You have glaive toss. Again, like all the talents are really well made. I think like Hunter as a whole is a very well made class. Like it's a very complete class. Does very well in multitude of matchups in multitude of situations. So I would recommend play Hunter. That's I think a great class to play, and it meshes well with Windwalker. It meshes well with Shaman. It meshes well with Warrior. You can play with Druids, obviously, which is big. Like jungle is still very strong. A Feral Druid with a Hunter is really lethal. Survival Hunter as well. You can play Mage Hunter. You can play Shadow Priest Hunter. You have multitude of comps, really. Even Unholy DK with Survival Hunter is actually like pretty decent as well. You have multitude of comps that you can play and have fun, and I think it's a right choice if you like still on the fence on what DPS to play in Miss Pandaria Classic. Now let's talk about Druid. Yes, Druid is also a class I play a lot, and I actually level always Druid as first since the classic, classic realms. 2019 I played Druid. I played Druid a bit in TBC. I played Druid all the time in Wrath, and I even played Cataclysm Druid most of the time, Resto Druid or Balance Druid. Let's talk about balance. I think balance is like, I already made a video about it. It's again a S tier class. A spec. I'm very sorry, but it is actually very fun. It is Druid in better. It's Cataclysm Druid, like Balance Druid, but in better. It is surviving. It has CC. It has incredible damage. It's easier to do damage as well, I find, in Miss Pandaria than in Cataclysm. I think the gameplay is also way more fun right now than in retail. I think retail is really a dumbed down version of Balance Druid because they removed a lot of the things that made me enjoy Balance Druid. And you are really a menace. You're going to see a lot of Balance Druid, I'm not gonna lie. I think Miss Pandaria Classic will have a saturation of Balance Druid because it is just so good. And I think justifiably so. It is really a good strong spec to play. And then if you're talking about Feral Druid, I think Feral Druid has been very fun as well. I'm going to put an A tier because I have some distinction between Balance Druid and Feral Druid. It is definitely stronger. It feels very strong. It has still the things that makes Feral Druid very interesting. It is a melee. It is like it could be seen as squishy, but actually it is very tanky if you're playing it right, if you're bear forming at the right time. You don't need to face tank every single time. You are a rogue pretty much. You need to play as a rogue. You don't need to play like as a warrior. You could try as a warrior, but you're going to get deleted at one point. So you have to be avoiding damage whenever you can avoid damage. Resto Druid, I think it's a fantastic spec. Again, S tier, I think the two healing specs I would recommend playing in Miss Pandaria Classic if you want to search for fun. Resto Druid is insane. I think it has everything. You can actually deal damage as well if you like playing Heart of the Wild. You have like insane comps in 2s. I think you're also insane in 3s. You are really good. I think it's just more fun as well than Cataclysm. After playing multitude of PGs and 2v2s, I didn't do too many 3v3s because I didn't really. I wanted to play enough to be able to make this video, but I didn't want to like commit myself too hard on the betas because again, it's just only a beta. I don't want to like break my fun for Miss Pandaria because of a beta. Like the season hasn't begun and I'm already like grinding. No, that's not the thing I want. Now DK is also interesting. Is it fun? I think it's fun, but it is really dumbed down if you're talking about Frost Decay. I think Frost Decay B tier is a logical choice. It doesn't have too many abilities. Your Soul Reaper is cool. You have obviously Obliterate doing insane amount of damage. You have Frost Strike doing okay damage until you have enough mastery to do insane amount of damage. Your Rhyme procs and whatnot, Howling Blast. It's easy to have your diseases on the enemy. You have somewhat of a capacity to survive, but it's depending on if you're facing a warrior or not. If they're putting you a Moral Strike effect, good luck sustaining. If you're playing versus a caster, you're going to be okay. I think strong-wise, it is strong Frost Decay. You can play 2s and you can do very well. You can play 3s, you can play very well. Necrotic Strike is available to Frost Decay and Unholy Decay, while on retail, that is a passive for Unholy Decay, which really sucks. I wish it came back to Frost Decay as well. But I find Frost Decay okay fun. It just is like you don't really have that many buttons, and you're very one-dimensional in how it plays. Unholy Decay, on the other hand, I think it's a fun class. It plays very well. I think it's also more fun than Cataclysm. It is also very strong, which again also plays a part, I guess, from how it works and design-wise. You will face a lot of casters. Like this Miss Pandaria Classic, I will not be surprised if you're seeing only warriors and your casters, which are like warlocks, mages, and boomies, for example, mostly. And you are okay versus them. You're not like the best, but you're also not like the worst. And you are definitely not cannon fodder to them. They are going to be scared. But again, the mobility is like an issue for DK. You are not like on retail where you can break roots and whatnot. It's difficult. You cannot really break roots, so you will need a healer to actually dispel your stuff. But I think it's fine. I think it's a good spec. If we're talking about warrior, because we did talk about warrior, I think Fury Warrior is actually fun, but it's like not optimal. I think people are going to play arms. That's just going to be happening. But Fury is like decent. It's not like bad. Like I don't feel like it's bad in PvP. It does damage, but it's like a lot of the damage that it actually can do, Arms Warrior can do a bit better. I think Fury is not that bad. Like that's how I feel. I did play a bit of arenas, a bit of PGs, and I didn't feel like it was hopeless. But I also didn't think like it was Arms Warrior levels of strongness. So I think it's fine to put Fury Warrior as a B tier design class. Now, if I have to compare this Fury Warrior to retail Fury Warrior, it would be S tier. But I'm comparing it to Cataclysm, and I don't find it that like it is different. You have Raging Blows, you have your your left strike. I don't know how it's called. I think it's Wall Strike, but I'm not sure. You have like the damage is okay. You don't have Rampage yet. In other expansions, you will get a Rampage where it's like a big ridge dump and it does a lot of damage. Here you don't have that. So I think it is still like okay, but if you have to compare it to the other spec, I think there is a big gap. And Arms Warrior is going to be S tier, I think. Best melee if you want to have fun. If you want to like, if you're looking about like a melee and you want to have fun and you want to be sure that you're going to have fun, and you want to be also S tier in like how it plays and how strong it is, I think Arms Warrior is like the creme de la creme. It's very hard to do better than that. I think Windwalker is very close to it because of the utility, defensives, and the mobility. But Arms Warrior is like the one melee class, like the best melee class. The archetype of a melee class would be Arms Warrior, and I think it would be justified to put it in S tier. Again, you will see a lot of top heavy stuff from me. Top heavy, I mean S and A tier, because I think from what I've played, I had a lot of fun on every single spec. I'm trying to judge very harshly too. Like I'm very harsh about Demonology Warlock. I'm very harsh about Fury Warrior, because if I remember how I felt whenever I played, it felt more of an A tier thing. But then I'm telling myself, like, if everything is A tier, at one point you have to bring some specs down. And I would say Fury Warrior is one of them. Like, it would be a B tier spec. But in my mind, I would be playing Fury Warrior whenever I can. Whenever I feel like I've played too many Arms Warrior games, I could change to Fury. I think we can talk about Shadow Priest. I did play Shadow Priest. I don't like the Shadow Orbs. I think it's a bad system. I don't really like it, because obviously you need the Shadow Orbs to be able to use your Devouring Plague to do max damage on Devouring Plague. Your Mind Spikes, you need to play around your procs to not remove your dots. It has insane TC, so that's also fun. It is still fun to play, but I think there is a reason why every single expansion it gets reworked, because it never really worked to begin with. Like this Miss Pandaria Classic version is different from Warlords of Draenor, is different from Cataclysm, is different from Legion, is different from Shadowlands, Dragonflight, and even the War Within. Like every single season, every single expansion, you will see somewhat of a rework for Shadow Priest, because they don't know where to bring that class. Like, it should be strong, but if it's too strong, it is very, very, very obnoxious to play against because of the CC that it brings. You cannot really punish the CC, because then it is not Shadow Priest anymore. I don't like the Shadow Orb things. I personally don't like it, so that's why it's B tier. But else, if you can go past it, I think it's a fun class. If you can say, okay, Shadow Orbs are fun, then it becomes an A tier or even an S tier. But since Shadow Orbs are a thing, and I don't like Shadow Orbs, it becomes B tier. Now, Disc Priest, I have played it, but I think since it is really not great in PvP, it's an understatement what I'm saying. I think it's definitely not great. I think it's C tier because of that. It is definitely not the expansion for Disc Priest. If you want to play at your own disclosure, because it's going to be a wild thing. Luckily, Holy Priest, the little I've played, is a bit better fun wise. I would put it in B tier because it's not my favorite healer to play with. I think those two, like Resto Shaman and Resto Druid, are like superior fun wise, and that's why I'm putting Holy Priest like B tier. I don't really like the gameplay of it. Now, Windwalker is A tier. Now, the reason why I don't like it like that much is because I don't really like the class itself. So for me, it's different. It can be a fun design, but if I don't like the class, I don't like the feel and the vibes, it's like already like losing points for me. But even when you're losing points for me versus me for your Windwalker, it still is an A tier spec because of all the mobility, the defensives that you have, how strong it is, because again, like being Fist of Furying someone and become stunned is really strong. Like that, there is a reason why it's gone from the game. Then you have leg sweep, like you have multitude of things that are like really good, and I would recommend to play it just because it's Miss Pandaria. You should play one, but maining one is difficult for me for recommending it to you guys, because I would not recommend it to me. So I'm not a hypocrite. Now, Mistweaver, I would say it's on the same level as Holy Priest. I find it a bit more fun than Disc Priest, but I find Resto Druid and Shaman just that much better. So for me, the separation is quite logical. Now let's pick up the pace. Frost Mage is S tier, very, very strong. There is a reason why every streamer is playing Frost Mage currently, because it's really good. There are no reason for you to not play a Frost Mage. I think Arcane Mage is B tier. Is it strong? I have difficulties for it to be judged, because majority of people are going to play Frost Mage or Fire Mage. But Arcane Mages, I didn't see too many, and I pretty much felt like I was the only one playing it, and it was not that fantastic either. So B tier is a good tier for them. Fire Mage, I would say it's A tier, because the gameplay is still very good. Like if you compare it to other expansions, I think Fire Mage just gives you a bit more to do. You're very squishy compared to Frost Mage. I think it's aight. I think it's good. Now, Holy Paladin is going to be a bit higher than Holy Priest, but I think that's because I am a bit biased. I find it a bit more fun because I like Paladins. I like the utility that you have with mobs. You have obviously the healing is a bit more different than Cataclysm, but not that different. Um, Still about Holy Power, unfortunately. But I would recommend people to play Paladin like for sure because I think Retribution Paladin is also A tier. So if you want to play both, I think you should go for Paladin because it's a good hybrid. You have multitude of comps at your disposal. You're still okay in self heals. It's not like bad by any means, but it's also not like retail levels of self heals. So it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. Now, Combat Rogue is probably the most boring DPS. I might be very harsh here, because maybe in my mind it could be C tier, but I think I need to put some separation between the classes, because it's the spec that I have played the least, and I found it not that strong except for Killing Spree. That's it. I cannot judge a spec just because of one ability, so for me it's going to be D tier. The other specs that are going to be like high will be a sub rogue at A tier and assassination rogue at A tier as well. They're both very fun. Subtlety rogue is more meta for sure, but assassination rogue is actually decent. Like you should give it a shot. That's for sure. Is it going to be like WoW? I don't think so, because a sub rogue is just that much stronger. So most likely you're going to play sub rogue instead of assassination rogue. But it is playable. It's not bad. I think the gameplay is quite fun. I like playing around poisons. I wish it was more of a thing in the past, but it is not the case. But I truly think this is the expansion where Assassination Rogue shines the most in PvP. Like if you're thinking about like the whole classic expansion routine between Vanilla, TBCE, Wrath, Cataclysm, all those expansions, Assassination Rogues were like really an afterthought compared to Subtlety. So I think right now, if you want to play like Assassination Rogue, you will not be ridiculous on it. So that's a good thing. So this is the end of the video. It has been a 33-minute video. It has been very fun. Hopefully you did learn a bit from my insight. Again, I was quite harsh with the tier list. The truth is, if I am very true with myself, most of the classes would be minimum B tier, which would be Disc and Outlaw, and the rest would be A tier or S tier, depending on how you move those specs. But if I do that, then I just would need S, A, and B tier while you still have C and D. So I would say this is kind of the way I would give a bit of insight towards the specs. If you have any info about tanks, if you find it fun or not, please let me know in the comment section below. Why not? So I could maybe test it a bit more and maybe find a groove on it. But for now, I don't have it in PvP, so I think it's okay. So thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.